If you've been searching, can myEcon help if you have collections? myEcon collections. Can myEcon help bad credit? How to deal with collections on your credit report? Or can myEcon help fix credit problems? This video is going to be for you because collections are one of those things that hit people differently. It's not just a number on a screen, right? It's the stress, it's the embarrassment, it's the frustration. It's that feeling of knowing something is hanging over your head financially. And no matter how hard you try to move forward from it, it just keeps showing back up. It won't go away. A lot of people don't start looking for financial help because everything is going fine. They start looking when the pressure gets heavy, too heavy, when bills have already gone sideways, when mistakes have already happened, right? When life has gotten messy, when accounts ended up in collections, and now every move feels even harder than it should. And that's a real bad feeling, right? I've been there. So let me get straight to this question. Can myEcon help you if you have collections? Yes. For the right person, it absolutely can help, but not because it's magic, not because it's an overnight eraser, and not because one decision suddenly makes years of bad financial pressure disappear. It can help because a lot of people dealing with collections don't just have a collections problem. They have an awareness problem, a structure problem, a credit knowledge problem, a financial behavior problem. That either helped create the collection issue or kept people stuck in that collection issue or credit issue longer than they needed to be. That's the part that people don't like hearing, but it matters. Let me say clearly before I go any deeper, having collections does not automatically mean somebody is irresponsible. Doesn't mean somebody is lazy or somebody is hopeless. Life happens. People lose jobs. People get sick, overwhelmed. They go through divorces. I went through two. They make bad calls. They avoid things for too long, right? Until it gets too bad that you can't avoid it anymore. People were never taught how credit works. People panic and start reacting instead of planning. That happens every day. So this is not about looking down on anybody. All right. This is about being honest about what collections really do to people, because collections don't just affect credit reports. They affect your confidence. They affect your options. They affect your peace of mind. They make people feel trapped, behind, judged. And sometimes they make people avoid their finances entirely because facing it is too uncomfortable. That's one of the biggest reasons that collections just get worse. Avoidance. People ignore them. People don't want to look. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to feel the weight of what's happening. So instead of facing it, they push it to the side, right? But pushed aside problems don't disappear. They usually grow teeth, right? That's why this conversation matters. Because if you have collections, the question is not just, can something help me? The deeper question is, can something help me stop avoiding this problem, understand it better, and start moving in a smarter direction? That's the real issue. And that's where myEcon excels for people, right? The first way that myEcon can help somebody dealing with collections is through credit education and awareness. A lot of people with collections are operating in confusion. They know their credit hurts. They know that something is wrong. They know they need to do something about it. They know they need to fix it. But what do? What are they looking at? People don't know. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what is affecting them most. They don't know what should be challenged. They don't know what should be handled. They don't know what habits need to change, what kind of structure they're going to need going forward. And that confusion gets super expensive because confused people hesitate. And hesitant people delay. Delayed problems tend to get worse, right? So when one of the biggest things somebody with collection needs is not more vague motivation, they need better understanding. They need to stop feeling blind. They need to know what they are dealing with and why it matters. That alone is going to be more powerful than anything else, because the second a person starts understanding the problem more clearly, they stop feeling helpless. Helpless people stay stuck. Clear people move. The second way myEcon can help somebody with collections is through getting them to face the issue instead of hiding from it. This sounds simple, but it's big, right? A lot of people with collections live in a strange cycle. They think about the problem all the time, but they don't actually engage it. They worry, they stress, they feel ashamed, they feel boxed in, but they still don't take structured action. Why? Because emotionally, avoidance feels easier in the short term, and that's human nature. But short-term emotional relief creates long-term pressure. So when something pushes a person to get serious about their money, their credit, and what is really happening, it matters, because facing the truth is often the first real financial win. Not fixing it overnight, just finally facing it honestly. That shift alone can change your situation. Now, here's where I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest in the comments, because a lot of people watching this are dealing with the exact same thing and probably think they are the only ones. What has been harder for you, the actual collections themselves, or the stress and embarrassment that come with dealing with them? Drop that in the comments for me. Seriously, because people need to see they are not the only ones carrying that pressure. And I think a lot of viewers here will relate harder than they expect. All right, another way that myEcon can help if you have collections is through better financial structure. Collections usually don't exist in a vacuum. They're usually connected to other issues: weak budgeting, weak cash flow, poor tracking, no real financial plan, late payments, disorganization, panic spending, avoidance, reactive decisions. That is why obsessing over collections themselves is just not enough. Because even if somebody improves one part of the situation, if the surrounding behaviors stay broken, new problems are usually just going to replace the old ones. That's why structure matters. People need a better way of handling money going forward. They need better visibility, better habits, better discipline, better awareness of what causes pressure in the first place. Without that, the same pattern tends to repeat. And repeated pressure is what makes people feel cursed financially, right? They start thinking, why does this always happen to me? A lot of times the answer is because the pattern never actually changed. And that's why this matters, right? myEcon can help through helping people think beyond that panic. Collections make people panic, and panic creates bad decisions. Some people panic and ignore everything. Some people panic and throw money randomly at the wrong things. Some people panic and believe whatever the next loud person tells them. Some people panic and give up mentally before they even start, right? And panic is expensive. Everything is expensive, right? Because panic makes people reactive. Reactive people usually don't create strong financial recoveries. They create messy moves. So when somebody starts learning how to think more clearly, more strategically, and less emotionally about their credit problems, that's valuable. Because people with collections need more than just urgency. They need intelligent movement. That's very different, right? And then another way that myEcon can help if you have collections is through rebuilding belief that improvement is even possible. This may be the most emotional part of all. A lot of people with collections have quietly given up on themselves. Maybe not publicly, maybe not with words, but internally, yeah. They think, my credit is already wrecked. I already messed this up. I'm always behind. I'm never going to get out of this. What's the point? That mental collapse is dangerous, because once people stop believing improvement is possible, they stop taking action that could create it. And that is where a lot of people lose years. Not because improvement was impossible, because hopelessness made them passive. And that's brutal. So one of the most important things any real system can do is help a person go from hopeless and avoidant to informed and active. And that matters, because movement changes identity. The person who faces the problem is different from the person who hides from it. The person who starts learning is different from the person who stays confused, right? The one who starts rebuilding is different from the one who assumes they are permanently broken. And that shift is powerful. So let me talk about expectations, right? I always talk about expectations because this is where people mess themselves up. If you have collections and you're looking at myEcon, you need to be realistic. This is not about fantasy. This is not about pretending everything gets cleaned up instantly. This is not about emotional hype. This is about asking a smarter question. Can this help me understand my situation better, take smarter action, improve my financial habits, and move towards a stronger credit position over time? That is the right question. And for the right person, that answer is absolutely yes. It did for me. It did for a lot of the people so far that I've turned on to this. right? But if somebody's looking for a magic button, you're already setting yourself up for big disappointment, right? That mindset is going to kill progress because progress usually does not look dramatic at first. It usually starts with just understanding things more clearly, facing the issue honestly, asking better questions, making better decisions, stopping the behaviors that created or worsened the problem in the first place, and building stronger habits moving forward. That is how real financial improvement begins, not with a fantasy, with a process. Now, who is myEcon most likely to help when collections are involved? The person who is tired of avoiding the truth. The person who knows their credit issues are hurting them. The person who's ready to learn, wants more structure. The person who knows the problem is not just the collections themselves, but the whole financial pattern around them. That person can benefit. Who is it probably not going to help much? The person who wants instant relief without effort. The person who refuses to look honestly at their financial habits. The one who keeps doing the same things that created the pressure and still wants different outcomes anyway. The person who wants rescue without responsibility. That person is going to struggle no matter what they do, no matter what they touch, because no system can fully overcome somebody's refusal to participate in their own improvement. That needs to be said clearly. Now, let me answer it directly, like I always end with, right? Can myEcon help if you have collections? Yes. If you need better credit awareness, stronger financial structure, better habits, more informed decision making, and a process that helps you stop avoiding the issue and start improving your situation. No, if what you want is a fantasy solution while refusing to change the behaviors and thinking that kept that pressure alive in the first place. That's the real answer. And honestly, that is why I think people dealing with collections need to stop asking only, how do I make this disappear? And start asking, how do I become the kind of person who handles this problem intelligently and stops repeating the same pattern? That's the harder question, but it's also the smarter question, because collections are not just about a report. They're about behavior, awareness, pressure. They're about confidence. They're about whether somebody is finally ready to stop drifting and start taking control. And that's why this matters. So if you have collections and you're wondering whether myEcon could help, here's the truth. It can. It absolutely can. If you are willing to learn, face the issue honestly, improve your habits, and get serious about rebuilding. That is where the value is. All right, so if this video helped you, subscribe to my channel, because I'm building this playlist in a way that will break myEcon down in real world, no BS ways. The questions that people are actually asking and wanting answers to. And again, I want your answer in the comments. What has been harder for you? The actual collection itself or the stress and embarrassment that comes with it? Because I think that answer is going to say a lot, and it's something a lot of more people can relate to than they're going to admit, right? I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.